Welcome to Remembering Your Oneness with Xane Daniel and Monika Kupiec, where we know everything, and so do you.
Wow, we're both swaying our bodies side to side, almost in unison there.
Yes. Hi.
Hello, Xane. Hello, everybody.
How is everyone? Please say hello to us. We want to say hello back, and we want that greeting, that warm greeting.
We don't want a silent echo going backward to us. Hello, hello, hello.
So it's how silly, we use StreamYard for this, which is a great little piece of software, and it's really cool because you can put that little intro at the beginning of it and everything, but it's so weird that I can't do that and have it automatically play the intro. We have to be sitting there staring at the camera for a second, and then I can hit the button, and then then it finally happens. So it's kind of weird, but anyway.
Oh man, maybe you got to upgrade to a better plan.
Yeah, well, no, I'm on the highest upgrade.
That's the upgrade edition.
I know. Yeah, you would think so, right? But the StreamYard was just bought by somebody else, and they're actually doing lots of upgrades to it lately. So I would bet that something like that'll be coming along soon. All right, hello, Facebook user. If for those who are on the Eliminating Negative Entity Attachments group watching this, your name doesn't appear unless you register, and there's a link in the description above the video, so you can click on that, so we don't have to say, "Hey, Facebook user." Meanwhile, Eris, hello, Eris, thanks. And yes, we were dancing together, and Robin's healing.
That was unplanned.
Robin's healing.
Yeah, like everything else in our show, it's unplanned.
Yeah. And then Robin's healing says, "I'm still not frustrated."
That's amazing.
Yes, that is great. That's
the
good to hear.
The power of Zane's was it called an activation or clearing?
So, yeah, that's awesome. Okay, yeah, I didn't remember exactly, so she's trying to help me. She can
Wow, you don't remember? I thought it was the most amazing thing you did to her.
Okay, well, remind me then, because I do stuff. I work on people all the time. I'm doing activations constantly. So what was this one? Remind me.
Well, Robin was just feeling very not frustrated, but she had stuff going on, and then you did the activation for frustration. And then she had a huge out of body experience where she felt tingles and sensations, and she was just on this new high from your activation. And that was just last week.
Amazing. Thank you for reminding me. And I'm so glad to hear it, Robin. Yes, we did it. We did it together. And we'll be talking about energy healing and why I'm saying we did it together today, because that's one of our topics. And then Yellow Mandy, it's good to see you. And then, good job, Tiffany. Welcome. And then, yes, Mandy says the Hathors have our back. Absolutely. That is a huge part of all this. And it's still helping. Good. And hello, Jaybird.
Yeah, she missed our thing last week. She wasn't really talkative.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to call her out.
Okay. I don't even remember that either, whether what was going on. I think
there's something happening with your memory.
I need a memory activation to help me remember what the hell's going on. So, there's a lot. I had a really cool session during my class this last week where we were working with I was working with somebody who is an empath, and actually, of course, they generally all are, right? But this particular person was really struggling with you get somebody else's emotions and you don't realize that it's your own, and or that it's someone else's. You think it's your own. And so did a new activation based on that. It came through while I was talking to them, and it was to give a signature to the emotion that you've taken from someone else, so that you can immediately tell whether it's yours or if you're taking on someone else's. So it was really cool, because the two people that really were wanting that were shown exactly what that signature would be for them, because for everyone it's different. And then we also did an activation to make it so that they could use that signature as, I called it like a ripcord. Like you take that signature and you pull on it, and then it makes that it clears that emotion that isn't yours. And so I'm really excited to hear what happens with them, because this could be an activation that I offer for more people. But usually in my classes, I just kind of experiment with things based on people's requests and stuff. So it was pretty awesome.
Nice. Yeah, I just gave a lady an energy healing session too, and it was she had some problems with like her feet. They were like flaring up, and it started during COVID. So when I was on her feet, like all I could hear was it was a lot of fear, just the fear of the unknown. And if it happened during COVID, and that just kind of goes in line with the whole energy of, like, the fear of the unknown of what's about to happen to everything.
Yeah.
And then, like, for me to clear that, it was about her saying these 3 different a like, 2 different affirmations, but saying it 3 times out loud, and it helped clear a lot. And
Nice.
I feel like it's really interesting how every person is very not, like, unique, but has its own way of healing that will work for specifically for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That is what's really interesting about it is, people want to know. I'm going to dive into the other topic. I'm going to brush on it, but people
Yeah.
like to know, like, well, if I experience this and I see these colors or I hear this voice, what does it mean? And it's like, well, everybody sees different colors and hears different thoughts and
Yeah.
sees different things and feels different things. So it's all unique to each individual. And so that's why one of the reasons why I've never said, okay, there are these types of entities. You have a demon, or you have a reptilian, or you have
Mhm.
I don't like doing that, because everybody's experience is very unique to them. And we're also giving a lot of power and energy to that entity, especially if we were to name it like a demon, because then we would be saying, oh, that's more powerful than your soul.
Yeah.
Demons are considered like soul torturers. So
Mhm.
that just don't like to do that. But what I have been finding is that there are categories of experience. And so
Mm.
today's video that I just released like 15 minutes ago goes into the detail of those categories. And I have a series of questions that each person can ask themselves to figure out which category they fit into. So I'm excited about that, because I think it'll help a lot of people understand where they stand with their negative entities. And there are 2 of them that are very challenging to work with. But
Mhm.
we've seen success with both of those categories. So I'm excited to find those types of people that are definitely the ones that are spending lots of money and going to other light workers and shaman and not making any progress, that we can actually help them.
Yeah. Well, I feel like a lot of that stems from that that exact, like, energy healer that they go to of why it's not working, because either that they don't, like, specialize in this, like, topic per se, or that they aren't
Yeah.
asking the right questions to reach that right energy for that person.
Right.
Where they're either going through a set, like, ABCD type of healing
Mhm.
versus what
Right.
you do, which is very like a free flow, or what I'm doing is a very much like a free flow for the specific person, or it like not like experience, but this case in a way.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain what the word like
I know
is,
what you're
you know?
saying, though. I know exactly what you're saying. And what I used to do before I realized all of this stuff about entities is I would just do a basic clearing activation. And you
Mhm.
can find all of my clearing activations on YouTube. I do it for almost every time I do a negative entity video. I do a clearing in the video somewhere. And so what we find is that that's kind of successful, or it works
Mhm.
for an hour or a day or maybe a week. But there are deeper, bigger issues. And so people have to do more work. And instead of just getting clearings every week, you've got to actually figure out where your problems are. And we can work together to figure out what those are. And that's what I do now. And it's really amazing because of how much it's expanded and how much that work has been really fulfilling and fun. So yeah, I noticed you look like a pixel person too, but you're back. You're back to
What does
normal.
that mean? Oh, was I blurry or something?
Yeah, yeah. You were
I was
blurry.
like, I did not see myself go pixely and I thought she was referring to some sort of, like, fairy or something like that.
Oh, Josephine has a good point. What we were talking about too is, you because you were saying, you go to a shaman or a light worker and they, just do kind of a generic basic thing. And Josephine's right. They may also encourage victimhood and disempowerment, right? We get that all the
Mm,
time. The oh, this is not something to be messed with, and entities are very scary and they're very challenging, and they like to
mm,
know what type it is, and so they end up giving a lot of energy to the entity,
mm,
and they talk about you have to protect yourself, and all that
yeah.
is all fear based and disempowerment. So it's like the opposite of what I do. She's right on.
Yeah. Well, it's like a similar thing. I've definitely had some healer friends that say that they don't wanna do mediumship because they're scared of it. And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Well, shouldn't you just be open to the experience? If they come in, they come in." Like, I remember one time I was giving a friend, like, a healing, and his mom that passed away, like, came through, and I'm like, "Am I really ready to tell him this?" And it took, like, 2 days for me to tell him, but then he was just I don't remember if I told him that day or 2 days after. I think there was an instance where it was similar to that, but he was very thankful that I had told him that. And it's also asking that being or that person that comes through, it's like asking them, "Are they ready to hear this?" And then going through with it. Because I sometimes get a no, but when I hear that no, then I know that maybe it's just not this time, but maybe later in the session, I'll be able to they're more ready to hear that depending
Yeah.
on a clearing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and Eris asks a great question. Aren't negative entities really just other aspects of self? Correct me if
Hmm,
I'm wrong. And this really gets into our topic today, I think, because it all folds together with what is energy healing anyway? Or, as we, Monica and I, as energy healers, are we actually doing anything? Or is it that the person that we're working on is actually doing all the work? That's another angle and aspect that we can do to look at this. Because if I've talked about Bashar before, right, Monica? He's a channel. Daryl Anka channels Bashar. He's this extra dimensional being, super entertaining, really funny guy. Like, I
don't remember,
recommend
yeah.
watching him. He's awesome. But ultimately, he says that all of the spiritual stuff that we do is essentially permission slips, like a permission slip to, if you use your crystals, right, and you bathe your crystals in sunlight, and you do all these different things with the crystals, and the crystal gives you energy, or it gives you warding off of entities, or whatever it does. The crystal is essentially a permission slip for you to use your own power. It's for you to use your own gifts. You believe that the crystal is the one doing it, but it's actually you. And so every spiritual experience is getting permission from the person that you're working with to do the work yourself. So if I didn't have the permission of the person that I'm doing this energy work to, it wouldn't work. Well, in a way, they are in a belief system that this is going to work. And that belief system allows them to feel the energy healing experience. And, but it's interesting because the more confident I am, the more effective it is. And
Mm,
so the more confident they are, the more effective it is. So it's all this interesting thing. And so when it comes to entities, I know that 90% of the entity situations I experience is exactly as Eris says, they are an aspect of self. But there is a percentage that, I'm sorry, there's something else going on, and I've definitely experienced it. And this falls into one of those categories that I was talking about in my video.
mhm.
So all that said, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking when you said that, it works better when I believe it and then when the person believes it, and it almost makes me think because when the last time I gave, like, a Reiki training to someone, I just kept hearing, "They already have this, they already know this, like, why are you doing this training?" And that just made me think, like, what if people getting trainings is just their way of getting that permission slip that they can do this?
Yes.
Versus just knowing that you can. Because I remember when I first started, seeing people's, like, chakras, my friend was like, "Oh, you should, like, learn Reiki because it would you'll probably know better," or yada yada, and at the time, I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" But now I'm thinking all the years that I've, practiced all of this, every year I just get more confident in it and confident in it. It's almost like I didn't really need those certifications to prove that I can do it. It was
Exactly.
just me being more confident in myself and my abilities and my intuition and, talking to all those beings that come in and help me. So it's like
Mhm.
very fascinating how, you know, I don't like the term permission slip, but I feel like certifications are basically those physical permission slips that you can do this.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you. I actually didn't like the term permission slip. I was like, "Oh man, that sounds so lame, so cheap." So I get you exactly, but I understand now even more than ever because I probably heard him say that 5 years ago or something.
Mhm.
Now I get it even more that and this is what I teach in my programs is that you're very powerful, and you just have to realize it and really know it and really feel it. And that's when everything changes. That's when negative entities aren't a problem anymore. That's when you start to discover and reveal your spiritual gifts, and you can actually make change in your environment. And all of a sudden it's easier to work with people that are difficult to deal with, and you become closer to your family, and on and on and on. All these amazing things happen when you actually step into your power, and it's all related. So it's related to negative entities, it's related to energy healing, it's related to relationships, it's related to self and love and unconditional. It just goes on and on and on. So we've got a very lively group today. Thanks everybody for sending us lots of awesome messages. Let's see.
I agree with Josephine when she said permission slip reminds her of school. First thing I thought was the permission to go to the bathroom.
Right, that's kind of
And
disempowering, right?
I was in a public school, but
Right. Well, that's from Josephine. I wanted you to see, Monica, if you didn't see that she's trying to. Well, she says thank you for honoring the person you are working with,
Mm, yeah.
and
I actually don't do that many energy healing stuff anymore just because not like I don't enjoy doing them, but I feel like since I started painting, I stopped doing them. But now I have like some clients that I've done their paintings on, and then they want like to do like an energy thing on. So I feel like it just helps supplement them getting used to the energy of their painting.
right. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's way cooler in a way to do the painting work because it's beautiful. You get it forever, and you put it on
Mhm.
your wall or whatever. So
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. I was looking at some of your recent ones, and there was one that was just so sticky outy. It was sticking out on the edges and everything. I was like, wow, this is really cool. So I was
Yeah,
very
there was
impressed.
this, well, yesterday my friend's sister, she, like, made a post about, how, like, last year she went to go visit her sister, and her sister has just, like, a print of one of my waves, and she was saying how she wasn't able to sleep, but then, like, she would connect with the painting, and she would have so many deep clearings through that time when she was there, and she just kept forgetting to tell me about it until, like, yesterday. So it's definitely, like, even if you don't receive that painting for you, like, other people are gonna be benefiting from it too. Just like how I made, Jaybird the energy portrait of her cat, like, you're benefiting from it too.
It's right there. Right there on the
So a
wall.
little bit of it is sticking out.
Yeah, yeah. That's great. Um, so getting past the fear-based programming is the biggest hurdle. It absolutely is. It's everything. And when I was talking about the light worker that might tell you that you need to protect yourself, you have to give yourself a bubble of protection. Even that is fear-based. Like that is, you have to protect yourself from the scary stuff on the outside of that bubble.
Mhm.
No, you don't. And the more that you think that you do, the more trouble you're going to have, and the more you're going to be tormented. And the more that you think that you don't, that you are this incredibly powerful being, the less you're going to be tormented and troubled.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mimo.
Okay.
What does Mimo mean? Jaybird said.
Okay. Now, okay. So this is, oh gosh, why do we have to ask this?
'Cause I thought
Uh,
she was gonna say meow, but she says Mimo. I'm like,
no,
there's gotta
no.
be something to that.
Yeah, you're right. You find those little things. Okay. So I make weird
You're
sound. I
blushing.
make I make weird sounds when I'm uncomfortable, or in
Oh.
this case, I think if I remember right, I was being tickled. She was tickling me, right? And so I made this weird noise, Mimo, 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 like get away, and I do these weird sounds, and she really picked up on that one. And so now she sings Mimo, Mimo, Mimo all the time. And Mimo comes out all the time. So there you go. So glad you asked that. Okay, yeah. So oh wait, where did it go? Here it is. Eris is also interested in the painting. So
Hmm.
do you got any that you could show us even here, right now, like share your screen or something?
Oh, I guess I can share my screen. Let me just find where they are.
Okay. So while you do that, again, the topic today, the video that I released today is the types of negative entities, which is something that I always say that I'm not going to talk about because that gives them power. And so it's not really the types, it's the categories. So if you guys are interested in that, you can check it out. It was just released today. And then the other thing we wanted to talk about was what is energy healing? Because in many cases we say to ourselves, okay, I'm going to go to a light worker or a shaman, and they're going to do these things. Like, we did it live for, who was it that we did? Robin, for Robin's healing. We did one live last week, and it totally changed everything for her. Her frustration seems to have gone away completely 1 week later after just one session. So there's no discounting or no saying that, well, it doesn't work. It obviously does. It made a huge change in Robin's life. So what's actually happening there? First of all, both participants, and especially the receiver, absolutely has to be open to it and believing in it and giving permission. Then the giver also has to believe that what they're doing is actually going to do something. And amazingly, my experience when I was learning how to do my activations, I of course started experimenting on myself. And so I would say things like, hey, I want to be more confident. Well, when I would do that and do an activation for myself, I would feel experience this swirling in my solar plexus. And I remember, because I was so new at this, I don't even know if I knew that the solar plexus was the area of confidence at the time. So I had to look it up. Like, why did I just feel this weird thing in my chest, like right below my rib cage? And I finally figured out that, oh my gosh, that's where confidence lies. So I just made the request that I want to make a change to my confidence, and automatically this chakra started swirling or started having an energy change to it, which meant to me that even though I didn't know and understand the inner workings of the energy centers of the body, it just automatically started happening. So that's what made me go, all right, so it almost feels like there's another consciousness that's involved in this. And of course, we hear about it all the time. And I talk about it all the time. I work with the Hathors, which is an extra dimensional collective. Well, they get permission from me and from the recipient to do their work. So they had to interpret that I wanted confidence. They had to go, oh, well, confidence is in the solar plexus, and make a solar plexus change in me, even though I didn't know. So that, and that happens all the time. That I've experienced that sort of thing many, many different times when I've done energy work. So it shows me for sure that there is an intelligence or a consciousness that is involved in the process. And all I have to do is make a request or set an intention, and then that sort of thing happens. Again, whether I understand how it works or not doesn't seem to matter.
Yeah. Well, I'm ready to show. I don't know how to screen share, or how to. You want to talk
Okay.
me through how to screen share?
Yeah, you should have a share button on the bottom of your screen. Do you see it?
Ah, yes, I didn't see that.
Okay. So, and StreamYard's a little bit weird on the sharing. So, okay, now I'm going to kind of catch up here. California.
I guess I can share the entire screen.
Categories of entities, Eris asks. Yeah, I can go into some more detail of that with you, Eris. I'm trying to give Monika a chance to get her paintings up on the screen right now.
So it says it doesn't work for my preferences.
Okay.
And I got to restart Chrome. You want to just go to my Facebook, and then I'll just go from there?
Yeah.
You
Let's
can just
see. I could probably go to your Facebook and then I could share that. Let's try that.
'cause I guess we could just talk about those ones are the most recent ones, so I guess we can
Right.
talk
Yeah.
about that.
Okay. We'll get there. We'll get there. Be patient, everyone. Thank you for
And then
being patient.
Carrie says, I don't know if you touched on that, she says, "I see you never stopped doing spiritual healing, but you do it through your paintings." That's basically what happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it was something that happened, wasn't even intentional, so that's, like I guess that's the cool story about it is I was just listening to my voice to start painting, and then, like, a year after, my friend's like, "You should, see what they mean." And then a whole series came out of them. So
All right.
this screen
You've seen
that
it? Okay, good.
yeah. So this painting is the energy of a couple's love frequency together. So this is 2 people in 1 wave.
Nice.
So that I met them at a market and they live in Chicago. They just got theirs this earlier this week. And it was really cool because UPS timestamped it at 11:11 for it to get delivered. So I was like,
Nice.
wow, this is really unique.
That's awesome. That is
Is
great.
this the one you're saying that it stuck out or no?
No, yes, it's
Mm.
amazing. But what I was noticing, I'm just looking through here, paging through these. There was one, it might be this one. Yeah, I think it is that one. Yeah, what the heck? This is crazy. Like, look at, I mean, it's sticking way out on all the edges and all the sides. Like, how
Oh,
did
yeah,
you?
the sides get a little bit more abstract, and that's when you can see, like, different animals or shapes within them. This one is of a girl, this is her energy portrait in a way. So there's, like, 2 types that you can do if you wanna go back to, um but I
Yeah,
guess we can talk about this one, hold on. So, basically, the colors do have a meaning, the periwinkle color, which is that, like, light lavender. It basically signals that you're from the Pleiades starseed, so it shows me that you have like a purity in your whole like being that you don't truly express or you're ready to express. Magenta signals like the Andromedan galaxy, and then the blue just really says that you need to really work on your throat chakra or just voicing yourself and expressing yourself more freely. But really, the paintings they evolve with you. So every day when you look at it, you'll see a different glow within the painting, or you'll see a different section that is resonating for you because either that spiritual being that's trying to help you or that part of you that you're unaware of is trying to communicate with you to tell you like, hey, remember me, like, I'm here for you.
mhm,
And then when you look at it, it basically resets your energy. So if you're feeling sad, it's going to help you to just remember that you're actually whole and complete. Or if you're feeling happy, you'll see different glows within it as well. Uh, So it's always communicating with you. So you could get it as an abstract or as a wave, but now my waves I feel like they're becoming more abstract, so that way you can actually see different things.
yeah.
And that
And then this is the one that you made for us, or for really more for Jaybird. But I'm
Jaybird,
gonna
yeah. So I
turn off.
channeled the energy of Jaybird's cat, Midget. So that was what came through for for him. And then when I was painting this one, like, I almost cried or I was almost tearing up crying from it because it was a lot of unconditional love that was coming through. So I painted my own cat and it was, like, the opposite energy, basically.
Wow.
But it was just a lot of
It was
purity.
unconditional hate.
Not unconditional hate, but it was just more lively. Like, it was very, like, energetic, like, very
Nice.
energetically, made.
Wonderful. Yeah, it's really cool, and I'm really glad to show those off for everybody. So, anybody who's watching and who hasn't gotten a painting from Monica, you definitely should do so. They're amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm still blown away by the depth, that you're doing now. Like that, the amount of paint that you have to put on the canvas has to be nuts.
Yeah,
So,
it's the fun part of it.
right.
Yeah, and then they come in all different sizes, so now I do little mini ones, and they start at $50, and then big ones, just the bigger the size, the more energy that comes through in it and the more symbol, so that's
Mhm.
where, the higher prices come in, just because
Yeah.
it's so much material that I'm
Yeah, that's a
using.
lot of paint that you're using there for sure. Yeah. So
And it's
then,
And it's
Oh, right.
something that works with you every day, so I feel like it's almost priceless at that point.
Yeah.
At least what I'm experiencing from my own and from what clients are seeing, or collectors, I should say.
Collectors who I like that. That's good. So now, Facebook user, are the voices I hear spirit guides, or is the ringing I hear spirit guides? So, first of all, if you want your name to appear, then there's a little link that you can click above the above this video that you can get your name to appear. So I'm not just calling you Facebook user. And are the voices I hear spirit guides, or is the ringing I hear spirit guides? Very interesting. This is totally well. I can check for you, and I will do that in a second. But I also want to let you know that there's ways for you to understand this and to find out for yourself, so that you don't have to rely on someone else to tell you. And I actually have a video about that on YouTube. It was like 2 weeks ago. I think I released the video, being able to tell whether whether the voices that you're hearing are positive or negative. I think the video is called like determining positive or negative energy, which I think was your idea, actually, Monica.
Mm,
So there's various ways for you to tell. And so my question for you, of course, for you to start asking this yourself is, are the voices telling you very positive things? Are they telling you things that are somewhat negative? Are they trying to convince you that they are positive? If
mm,
they're saying, "Hey, we're your spirit guides and we're here to help you," and all this stuff, then and yet they're putting in a lot of effort to try, and you're kind of questioning it, and you're like, "I don't know," and they're like, "No, no, no, really, we are." If they start doing that sort of thing, that actually falls into a category of that I'm talking about in my video that I released today. That there's an entity type that is very chatty, very conversational, very disruptive, very talking all the time. And one of the things that they try to do is they try to convince you that they're good,
mm,
and then they start doing really bad things. They start doing verbal abuse, or causing you physical pain, or that sort of thing. So I just wanted you to be aware that if anything's trying to convince you that they're good, they're probably not, because the good ones, the highest frequency ones, don't need to do that. They look at everything as beautiful and perfect, right, as it is. If you choose to ignore them, no problem. If you choose to listen to them, no problem. Doesn't matter. So they're just there to give you information, to help you, to heal you if you want it. But you're never going to have any pushiness coming from a high frequency being. So
yeah.
anyway,
What
um,
about just quick question, what about one that gives you a choice to work with them? That
yeah,
you're
see, that seems very high frequency, right? Like, it's, if, again, the negative ones are not going to give you a choice. They're going to
mm,
push and try to get you to believe in them, and to, to listen to them carefully. And so then when they insult you, you really believe it, because you
mm,
go, "Oh my gosh, I've really listened to you, and you've said things," and they know stuff, right? So they'll tell you things and it'll turn out to be right, and you'll go, "Oh my gosh, this is fantastic." And then they might, say, "Well, you're an idiot and you can't do this." Okay, as soon as they do anything negative at all, cut it off. You know for sure this is not a being that's trying to help you. You're
mhm,
done with that. And reach out to me, and we can start working together on helping you get over that. And because a lot of times in those very, very specific situations, this is a very low percentage of people, that can be challenging. So I'd be happy to work with you on that. But anyway, to answer your questions, the voices that you hear, are they spirit guides? I'm getting that they probably are.
yeah, I'm getting a yes too.
Yeah. And then is the ringing. Yeah, a lot of times we get that ringing because we're getting downloads. My question would be to you also, is that ringing constant? Are you absolutely always hearing it, or does it come and go? That'll be more of an indicator that it is something like you're receiving downloads, positive downloads.
Yeah.
If it's constantly happening, then that could actually just be a physical thing that's going on with you.
Ringing can also just be, it's helping you come back to the present moment. So it might not be a spirit guide, but it just might be the thing that you need to come back into the present, because you might be thinking too much of the past or the future, or like you're in full mood of anxiety. But that ringing can actually help you just come out of that. So
Right.
it might not even be like a spiritual being, it just might be your body being like, "Hey, like, let's get over this in a way."
Yeah.
For a few brief moments.
Right. And Jaybird says that that Facebook user is Jay Ashley. Hi, Jay. Thanks for asking us a question. Hopefully that answered it. And feel free to give us more information. And then Eris asks, how do you know if weird things that happen are a result of negative entities or just your higher self trying to get you into alignment? Again, that's very similar, right? Like that, what I was just talking about. It's because weird things happen all the time, and they can be positive. They can feel very negative at the time, but they can be very positive in the long run. I've had a lot of those sorts of situations fairly recently where I was living with Jaybird in a van doing the van life thing, and then we had an accident and the van was totaled. So we thought, the first thoughts are, am I on the wrong path? Did I do something wrong? It's like, no, it's all part of the plan, and it's something that you can accept and move on from, because there are always going to be positive growth. Anytime something leaves, it's clearing the way for something new and better. So, always keeping that perspective really can help in those situations.
Hmm. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I like Jaybird's response to Jay also here. Jay and Jaybird. So she's suggesting, I do not understand the way that you are trying to communicate with me in talking to the ringing. Could you please communicate in a manner that I understand? Um, yeah, that's cool. And so, she did this and she suddenly had images flashing through her head versus sounds. And that is one thing that we can do, is that when we are receiving things, or we're receiving things that are kind of uncomfortable, we can go ahead and ask, hey, can you make this less uncomfortable for me? Because they're multidimensional beings, and for them, they don't totally understand the 3D experience because they're not currently in it. So they don't realize in many cases what they're doing to us. And so that communication can go both ways. I've talked about it before, that I had a great conversation with the ninth dimensional Pleiadians lady who could channel them, and they didn't understand a lot about the 3D world. And I remember teaching them things about how the 3D world worked, and they were so thankful that I gave them that information. That was weird to me, but yet also helped me understand that, it's like we're a third dimensional beings, right? We're in a third dimensional world. If we were to talk to a two-dimensional being, we would not understand what a two-dimensional existence would feel like at all. We would do our best to try to figure it out, but it would be very foreign to us. So you
Mhm.
got to understand that when they're at the ninth dimension, the third dimension is pretty far away from their current experience, and so they don't totally understand it all.
That's a good point. Well, it could just be also in correlation to how someone else is in their own emotional state. We don't know what it's like because we aren't familiar with it. So it's also just gaining that whole, like, presence with them or accepting them as they are because that's the experience that they're going through.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay. I think I feel caught up with all the texting and stuff. Did we catch up? Did we miss anybody?
Yeah, I was looking it through and I don't know if,
Yeah, some of the comments, I'm not totally sure what they're referring to, but probably
mm.
something that you or I were saying at the time.
I guess going back to the paintings, I paint from a photo reference, so I don't need to know you, and it's not a session that we do. But then you do receive messages of what comes through while I'm painting. So either I always print that out, but if you have questions afterwards, then I usually either jump on a call with someone or if in person, then we talk about it in person. But you can go to my website, which is linked over here, themonikakupic.com, and then you can read more about it. I even have a schedule a call section where we can talk about it for a little bit if you want to get to know more of the process.
All right. And I just gave the link also. And Jillian's excited. She wants to get a painting. Yay, Jillian.
Ah.
Nice.
Yeah,
And
they're really fun to make, so it's like I get all happy when I get to make it, and I'm basically, like, dancing and singing and playing around with your higher selves. It's a really fun process. The last painting that I did for a couple, I did the wives, and she's like, "It feels like we were just hanging out for, like, a couple of days," 'cause hers took, like, 4 days to do. So I just follow the energy and see what wants to come through each day, and I'll just hear a stop when I need to stop, and then I continue on. So it's definitely a very intimate experience, that I have with your higher self, and each one is my little baby, so I take good care of it.
That's awesome. Yeah. I see that in, in the way that you are with them. And I wanted to say to Miroslava, yes, revolutionary concept about self-protection attitude. Well, I don't know how revolutionary it is, but I appreciate the compliment. And, you know, in just a couple of weeks, starting up the next round of Detached, which is my program to teach people all of these sorts of things. If you think that's revolutionary, you ain't seen nothing yet, because of the amount of material and the amount of transformational work that we do with our people who are afflicted with negative entity attachments or curses or depression or PTSD. And it just takes 7 weeks and we see complete transformation. Like, we're on week 5 right now of the current program. Everybody started off. What I do is I always ask people, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is your suffering? And at the
Mm.
beginning, it was, you know, 8s and 9s and 10s. And just this last week, everybody was at 0s in just 5 weeks, and we still have 2 weeks to go. So the transformation is amazing, and it's very rewarding for me, of course, and for everybody who's involved, Jaybird and our other helpers. So it's awesome.
Yeah. And then Jillian says, "I feel clearing looking at some of the pics on your website." And yeah, I have the healing print section where all of those are like kind of like a collective healing where you look at which picture you gravitate towards, and in the description you'll have the kind of like the energy activation or the embedded energy that's within that painting. So when I was talking about that, my friend's sister was in the room and she could feel the energies painting. That one was called Pipeline. So it was just a print that she had in the room that was helping her do that. And this past month, at the markets, everyone has been being gravitated towards Mystical Pipeline, which is the pink version of that one. That one is a lot about clearing your inner child and bringing in love and intimacy and kind of like just that whole joy of like honoring yourself and that self love.
It's
So it's been
awesome.
interesting doing the markets to see, like, each month, like, everyone gravitates towards a different painting, so it's like you can feel that the energy shifts, like, month to month to what people are needing at the time.
That's great. Well, Jaybird
Mhm.
is chatting with somebody that and I don't know who this Facebook user is. I'm good. I'm in Poland currently. I'm deep in my routine in arts, and she says, "Oh, that's great. That is very far from California." So now I want to know who this is, because it's obviously someone that Jaybird knows, and maybe it's someone I know as well. So
Yeah.
let us know who is this.
My family is from Poland originally,
Oh
so
yeah. Well, that would
I
make
I
sense. Yeah,
speak Polish or fluently.
you
Fun
do.
fact about me, yeah, I speak Polish fluently.
Oh my gosh, I did not know that. That's amazing. Okay, so whoever this is continues to stump me. Think I'll be here for a year or two. Who knows what's next? I've seen maybe a couple of
It
my
feels like you're
actual videos.
prying in on their
I
conversation.
know, yeah, yeah. Like, hey, tell me what's going on here. This sounds fun. Oh, it's Alex. Okay, okay, cool. Yay! I'm glad to see you, Alex. So, okay. So, when you had suggested that we have this conversation about what is energy healing originally, Monica, I know
Mhm.
that it was about your your experience with Reiki and so forth. Did you start to question that it, that it works, that it doesn't work, or anything like that, or were you feeling pretty confident in it, but just didn't weren't quite sure if you wanted to do Reiki or something else moving forward?
Not that I wasn't feeling confident in it. I just know that ever since I started it, I never really did it. Like, I never really followed the symbols or followed anything else. I kind of just made my own thing about it,
Yeah.
which I kind of thought that's what Reiki is. You kind of just branch off and do your own thing.
Mhm.
But then when I started teaching it, which is only like I only taught like maybe 4 or 5 people, I just kept hearing this isn't the way, this isn't the way. And I think that and then that's when I'm like, I need to just focus on the painting. I actually even got a my friend did a healing on me on Friday, last Friday,
Mhm.
and, we went to, like, my heart, and then we did some clearing there, but a lot of it was of just focus on painting and not teaching people how to do energy healing, but showing people their energy. So
Right.
I feel like she even joked around saying like, "Oh, your guides are saying don't even teach, so that makes it easier for you to not focus on that." So it's like it just gave me that more like a confidence boost of what I'm doing is exactly what I should be doing. And I think I got that Reiki master level belt thing because I felt like, oh, maybe I do want to teach, but I realized that wasn't truly aligned with me. But if I never had gone and I would have never really known to question Reiki or to question all of this. So I feel like everything did happen for its time or for its
Right.
reasoning.
Yeah.
But it just shows that being more flexible with energy healing or being more like free flow with it is actually truly a more organic way of receiving the energy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
It's
great.
almost like you should be unconscious of what you're doing because the energy is more pure versus when you start piling on the different teachings or the different things from other people, it sort of gets mistranslated, and I feel like that's what I was starting to feel, that there was a mistranslation between Reiki and whoever I was learning from. And then on Friday, my friend pulled out a lot of different things that I've been taught, and I've been feeling so much better. Like I've definitely felt less anxious or just less strain on my heart. So there was definitely something that happened that I wasn't supposed to receive in a way, if that makes sense. Or the energy wasn't as pure, I should say, that came through
Mhm.
when I got my Reiki master certification done.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, getting the Reiki master, I did Reiki 1 and 2. I didn't get to go
Mhm.
to the mastery. But I did notice things start to change when I did that. But it never turned out to be the modality that I've ever really used. I don't know how many times I've ever used it. I could count it,
Yeah.
less than 10 times probably. Maybe I used it a lot at the very beginning, just to experiment with it. But then the other modalities started coming through, and so then Reiki was no longer a part of my experience. And I think that that's true for many people. That
Mhm.
that that Reiki learning can start to open you up, and then you can discover way more than what Reiki does, because it is kind of exp- expressed and taught in a fairly limited capacity. So, okay, you have to do the swirl thing with your hand, and you do this, and you can do some long distance healing if you do all this
Mhm.
crazy stuff. But you don't even have to do all of that. You can do it your own way, and whatever that is the right way.
Yeah. Yeah, when I think Reiki 2 is when you learn the distance symbol, and, I never really like, I always had it with like, I would open it up and I would always feel like a weird energy from it, but I never really understood why, and I feel like now it just makes sense because usually I would never really use the distance symbol, I would just connect with their higher self, and that was the way that I did it, and people felt so much through the phone or through whatever I was doing virtually. So I feel like maybe for me this is just isn't the way, but maybe for other people it is.
Right.
But I think feel like right now it was just a time to really question what it is that I'm doing versus just doing a system and calling it this way when I'm really not even using it.
Yeah.
It's like using a keyword, but it's not really the most aligned keyword
Right.
for
Yeah.
me to be using.
Yep. Yep. You have to use your own thing. Yeah. Totally. So Heavenly Faith says there's no such thing as energy healing. I'm excited about this, because this is, she believes this very firmly. And I have to say that I felt the same way when I first heard about it. I was like, that's bogus crap. Like, that doesn't actually work. But that's not what she's saying. She's saying this: the only way to heal your spirit is from our Lord, the Holy Spirit, given from the Father, sent by the Son. So she believes that healing is possible. She just believes that it has to come through this very specific path or route. I totally deeply respect that and understand that perspective to some degree. Now, I'm not a studier of Christianity and the rules
Mhm.
and the laws set up by Christianity, but I still feel, and I hope that Heavenly Faith does as well, that what we're doing is still the same thing. And in her mind, or in the Christian mind, then it is coming through this route. And in our mind, we aren't necessarily following that route exactly, but we're still pulling from the same energy. So I'm hopeful that there's an open-mindedness to that possibility there, that everything does kind of fit together and it still works.
Yeah. And then Eris Rogue says Reiki ... permission slip wink face. Like, yeah,
Yes.
that's basically, I think I mentioned it before too. It was literally just that permission slip, getting those certification that I could do it, but I was already doing it before, well before it, because I started going to a healer when I was 14ish, just for like health reasons, and she would do acupressure on me and then also her own energy healing. But hers was a lot about connecting with God, but connecting with God through the trees and nature. So it was her own twist on it. And then when I got Reiki certified, I was like, oh, she must be doing Reiki, because that was all done in Polish. So there was never really like a terminology for what she's doing except for like energy healing. But then I got it all wrong because recently I talked to her and she's like, "Oh, I don't do Reiki. I pull God's energy, or I pull in source's energy through it." So, and then she was asking me like, "Well, what is Reiki?" And then that's what also started making me think like, I can't really explain this. Like, and if I can't explain it, there must be something there must be some sort of disconnect between it. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. And I love that we okay. Josephine is writing the our our links to our sites, so I decided to kind of help her out there. Thank you, Josephine. That's beautiful. Okay, so Heavenly Faith does not believe that energy healing can be done by anything other than revelation, and otherwise it's just man-made opinions. Okay.
Well, I feel like that's where Reiki kind of is. It's not like it's man-made, but I feel like it was basically man-made in a way. I could be wrong, but that's just kind of, I guess I could agree with her in that sense. It's not really purely God frequency or love frequency. That's just what I'm kind of
Okay.
maybe
Well,
sensing.
I feel that everything is love frequency. Every experience that we have, including everything that makes us up.
Mhm.
All of my molecules are a love frequency molecule, and all of yours and all of everyone else's is. And
Yeah.
this plastic cup is also made of the love frequency. So that's all that exists, actually. But still, this is a very interesting and kind of fun conversation. I like to
Yeah,
engage
it's
this.
like really like pulling into a what is life, you know? Like, well,
Mhm.
where is the origin in a way? And it's
Right.
hard to put it into words, and it's like maybe Reiki is God energy, but it's like translated in a totally different way, but
Right.
I don't know.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so and I'm about to put something that Jaber just wrote on the screen, but I want to preface it with one of the things that I like about being, not being tied to any particular religious, uh, um, what's this? What do I want to say here? Organized religion. One of the things I like about it is that I get to be open to all of it. And I think that all of it has
Mhm.
its strengths and all of it has its weaknesses. All of it, including my subset that I subscribe to, right? And
Yeah.
so, Jaybird says, "Judge not, lest ye be judged." So she's suggesting that, hey, the in the Christian faith they say this sentence, right? And so, to judge what we experience and how we heal each other and how we experience our own version of enlightenment, it should not be judged, and in a negative way. At the very least, it should be appreciated and loved, because it's actually helping people and we're helping each other
Mhm.
create a better society, a better life for ourselves. So in that way, it can be worshiped and loved just in the same way.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's like you still going back to what you've always said, like your soul contract signed up to do this, and then your soul contract is here to experience it all. And it's like I had to experience this energy healing all this whole journey to then further develop what it is that I'm supposed to really put out into this world. And right now it's painting, but maybe in 10 years it's going to be something else that comes through that I need to be doing. But
Mhm.
it's like all of these things, like it's not like I'm very anti Reiki now, but it's like that journey of Reiki just really unfolded everything that I needed to do. It was just like a learn it's like you take a course in school and you absolutely hated it, but it's like you still had to take it in order to get to the next step. So it's like I had to get all these Reiki certifications just to get to the next step. But I didn't really have to or had to, because those are all like judgment based like things. But it's like this is just how my life played out.
Mhm. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, and so this and
Yeah, it
so
is
this
awesome. It's like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
it's
and
like I
so
didn't
this
really do anything wrong, but it was just what my soul decided to try or
yeah.
to dip its toes in.
Right, exactly. All of our experiences are like that.
And
Um,
I was raised a Catholic too. I went to church all the time, but I always questioned it. I was always like, "Why are we going here? Like, why are the
mhm,
priests like talking in this manner or this way?" Because they were very much fear and judgment based. Because I went to Polish, it was Polish Roman Catholic, so it was like not like it was the worst of its kind, but it was pretty strict, and it just made me question it all. And I feel like now it's like that same thing of questioning Reiki or questioning, well, what exactly is this?
mhm,
And it only then developed my own connection with God or my own connection with source or higher self and developing these code I guess you could call them codes, but the codes of life.
right. So, one of the things that I want to teach, most of the people that are in the audience right now are not following the Christian religious study and so forth as much as this one person who's commenting. And so I'm about to put up a comment here that I think that will bristle them, that will get them upset. And so what I
Who's
want to
them?
do,
Who's them?
most of our audience, right?
Ah,
Like I'm
okay.
about to post something that Heavenly Faith said that I think will bristle people in our audience. And so I want to preface that with, we are in unconditional love. That is who we are. That is what we are. So no matter what this comment is, I want you all to only send unconditional love to this person.
Mm, yeah.
Heavenly Faith, just an ignorant woman quoting scripture with no understanding, just a tactic non-believers used from Satan. So this is something that she believes in fully. And Heavenly Faith, I love you unconditionally. Absolutely, there is no doubt about it. I happen to disagree, but it's okay because we still live in this incredible world together and we are all one. And so you are one with us and we are one with you. So thank you for that comment.
Mm.
So yeah, and then we also have some amazing things like Jaybird also said that she awakened through Christ. So she had a Christ awakening, and now she doesn't really like the Christian perspective because it seems very closed minded, and I totally understand that, and because I think humans got involved, right, and humans kind of changed the whole system, but still non judgment, everything is perfect exactly as it is, and I'm so glad it is the way that it is.
Yeah. And then Jillian says Reiki was a stepping stone on her journey to discover light codes, which led to plant medicine, the scenic route of self discovery. And I think, Jillian, you asked me about if I could paint a plant. So I actually painted the spirit of cacao and the spirit of ayahuasca. So I can channel really anything that you are wanting to see and just to discover what it is that you're looking for.
Mhm.
But yeah, I feel like everything is a stepping stone, even being very, like you said, like very much into the Christ mindset. Like that's your stepping stone into what you're supposed to do, or that's your soul contract that you pick, that you're going to be very Christ minded. But maybe eventually in a few years, that perspective might widen because there's so many people now that are changing their perspective or perceptions about the way things work, or maybe some life event may happen, and that will then help you question more and more about what Christ really is,
Mhm.
or at least that mindset.
Right. Yeah. And so, again, I want to just come back to, we are all one. And that even though maybe Heavenly Faith is suffering because she attacked us or Jaybird, it doesn't matter. Like, again, we are coming from a place of unconditional love. And so we're happy to have everybody here with all their opposing views. And yeah, it'd be nice if they weren't insulting, but we can also be at a really high level, and not allow that sort of thing to actually hurt us too deeply, because we understand that absolutely any pain that comes from anyone really comes from their own suffering. So they've had their childhood experiences, or they've had their experiences throughout this life, and anytime we're hurt by someone else, we have to remember that they're doing everything that they can to be the best that they possibly can at all times. It just doesn't always show up in the way that we would like for it to.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that's how we should end this conversation
I
of,
agree.
we are unconditional love. And, even if someone is putting hate out there, or you feel like you're receiving hate, know that it can be translated into unconditional love. And if you are feeling hate from these comments, maybe there's still something within you that you need to work through in order to see that she is just as you.
Yeah, exactly. All right. All right, everyone. What a lively conversation. Thank you so much today. It was lots of fun, and we'll see you next week.
Aloha.
All right.